Welcome. I am Sue Landay. I'm from Trainer's Warehouse, and this is Show and Share. And I have with me today Jamie Grisafa. I knew I was going to mess that up.
Got it the second time. It's good.
Who's the developer of a product called Kind Cards. So Jamie has worked in HR for 28 years. He's the VP of Talent Development and Culture and Inclusion at Quanterix and has been focusing on employee experience for a long time in his career. And kind of making work a happier place for people. He kind of doubles his time, part not too far from Trainer's Warehouse in Waltham, Massachusetts, but is here right now from the west coast of Florida.
Hmm.
And he also is a dog lover, a watercolor artist, and I just learned he was on a reality TV show back in 2006. So,
Mm.
Jamie, I'm happy to have you. And this is what I love to do. I'm going to have everybody unmute themselves right now. We're going to say hi to Jamie on the count of three.
Oh,
Ready? Off, 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 off. Ready? Three, two, one. Hi,
Hey,
Jamie. Welcome.
oh God. Thank you. That actually was really sweet. Thank you, everybody. That's so kind of you.
All right. So take it away. Tell us about Kind Cards, Jamie.
Do you want me to start sharing now or just
Sure.
okay?
However you'd like to do it. So Jamie's put together a little bit of an intro on the tool. He's going to walk us through what it consists of, a couple case studies, and we're going to try it out.
Yes, definitely. And before I do that, because I want to just tell you a little bit about where the idea came from, but I like the idea of seeing you for that, and then I'll show the slide because I like the connection of seeing your faces. So thank you for being on. Um, in 2020, I was leading learning and talent development at a company, and they asked me to lead culture and inclusion. It wasn't my aspiration, but they asked me to lead it, and I said, okay, I'll do it. But that I had to really learn what is culture, what makes a good employee experience. And I think at some level I kind of knew it's how we're treated, but it really did hit me even more so. Most of the employee experience that we have, regardless of title or position, is how we are treated by the people we work for and with. Think about your own jobs. How you're treated is how you feel when you have to go to work the night before. I'm not saying that compensation isn't important, the job should be interesting and you should be developed, but it's really how we're treated. So with that, I was thinking, what if we were kinder? Because I couldn't think of another word. Empathetic leadership, that applies to some. It doesn't resonate to everybody. And it says leader, but we all need to be kind, consciously kinder. So I looked in the market to see if there was anything that teaches kindness, because I did think of it as a skill set. Some of us are better at it than others. No shame there, right? We all know how that goes, but there just has to be this willingness to develop that skill. And I didn't find anything out there that was how to be kinder at work. In October of 2022, I wrote an article called The Compassionate Culture, Being Kinder at Work. So it's been on my mind. And 5 months after that, out of the blue, the idea hit me, kind cards like this, just really like that. It was a weekend. I was trying to take the dog out. And I love cards as a teaching tool. You know, you can pick it up, you can take it with you, you can bring it to a meeting, you can put it up against your monitor. So that's, and then March of 2024, a year later, we started pre-sales and they've been doing really well. And I love that I partnered with Trainer Warehouse. I've been a customer forever, and to be a partner with them, it was definitely a full circle moment. So thank you, Sue,
And
again.
we just found out that Jamie's is out of stock of Kind Cards right now. They're expected in
2 weeks,
in a couple of
couple
weeks,
of weeks.
but
Yes,
we're gonna we'll have to wait. We'll have to be
yes.
patient, but
But not
happy.
that long because they're coming. And it was I was surprised that my first order sold out as quickly as it did. Karen, who has worked with me, it was delightful that people are choosing kindness, but I also wanted to get them in your hands as quickly as possible. So
It's a
they're
good
on
problem.
the way. Good problem. So right now I will share, and we'll just kind of guide the session with all of you. I'm going to go on presentation mode, which will make this even better. Let me just move you. Okay. Welcome. And thank you for the
Perfect.
warm welcome. This is just a little bit about the idea. I talked to you about that already, and let me just move this down. And I want to introduce you to kind cards. I talked about them, but here they are. They are a set of 52 cards outlining a unique act of kindness. And some cards have, all the cards have benefits, practical tips. Some of the cards have a little bit of a suggested script because if you're going to engage in a conversation that could be emotionally charged, you need to have that opening line, that line of entry. And some people like, I need to know what to say first and then I'll go. The cards are color coordinated and coded. Red is personal growth and self reflection. Blue is communication and connections, and yellow is about relationship building. I will tell you this: I use the name Jane when with suggested scripts. That's my mom's name, and she is on the other end of some interesting conversations. But she's very proud to be part of Kind Cards in that scenario. So you see the name Jane, that's my mom.
Love
Yes.
it.
Um, Here's a closer look. It's almost the anatomy of a card, right? So on the back, you'll see there's reflection questions. And the idea here is to pull one a week, right? There's 52 weeks in a year, there's 52 cards. You pull one a week in order or randomly, and you look for opportunities to enact that act of kindness, to extend kindness to somebody. If you don't find it in the week, maybe hold on to the card again or pick another one. And it really does, the reflection part in the back, it really does help you think, okay, what did I learn from this? What did I do differently? How did they respond? What did it do to our relationship? Things like that. So each card has the reflection. There are also two wild cards because you need to be kind to yourself as well. I don't want you ever to forget to be kind to yourself. So one of the wild cards is about self-kindness, and the other wild card is about removing any barriers that may keep you from being kinder to yourself. And there's also reflection questions that are a little different on the back of those cards. We are an emoji society. We use emojis in text. The written word can be tricky to interpret. So we use emojis to kind of make sure our intent is equal impact. Kind cards kind of adopted that, and we put emojis that do align with that kind of act of kindness that's on the card. There are also other cards that have supporting that reference other cards that can support you. So if you were going to, one card is reset a strained relationship, it might reference, hey, look at card number, I forget what it is, but it's active listening because that will help you with this card. So some of the supporting cards are also outlined on these cards. And let me just introduce you to Kind Cards. Here's all 52 of them. And you can see that the headlines are pretty intuitive when you see them, but there is content there. It's not just, oh, forgive someone. Well, why? And what is it? What can it look like? And we're in a very TikTok age. So I thought, giving some content that was a little bit bite-sized would help. There's the wild cards. I don't know if you can see everything because of my screen. Um, but there's also what is kindness. That's a card. I level set on what kindness is, what it's not. There are business reasons, financial business benefits to being kinder, retention, engagement. It's also the right thing to do, but sometimes depending on your audience, and I think you all know this, being in the field, that you need to grab people in different ways. This person is looking at the bottom line. Let's get them with this. Other people are looking at, yeah, let's just be, it's good for all of us. And then there's the instructions. Let me just pause
Can you
for,
actually back up one slide, Jamie?
sure.
Because Rob just asked about the colors. Now that we're seeing the
Oh,
deck,
yes, right
um,
here.
two
Personal,
slides.
yes,
Yeah, so red, personal growth and self-reflection, blue, communication connections, and yellow's relationship building and support.
yes. Just help
No,
me.
I know. That's why it's hard when you see the whole deck together. It's much easier to kind of see the whole thing. And fast forwarding to the cards, you'll also see the icons that Jamie mentioned in the upper right corners of each of those.
Right. Yeah.
And so, as we move forward in our conversation, one of the things that Jamie and I have talked a lot about is as much as we love this idea of one card a week for your personal kindness practice, I also know that we're a community of trainers, and some of the question that we want to kind of move on to in this next little bit is, okay, how can we use these both to teach kindness and in training environments for emotional intelligence, team building, leadership? And so Jamie's going to share a couple of examples of how he's had a few corporate customers really bring these to life.
Yes, thanks to, and that is how they are. I seen them being used more for that than just the kind of one-offs. That's where people are taking them, and there's so many other ways to use them. And I'll show you that at the end. But let's jump into how people have been using it, just as Sue described. Um, I'm going to reference Chewy, the company Chewy, Trimark, and Phillips. And they all use them in different ways. But one slide they had in common is this. Before they begin, and if you're all facilitators in training, you know you have to say, why are we here? Why am I asking you for your half day or a full day? And then there's some warm-up questions when you talk about the topic of kindness. What would you think and what would you say if I said, let's be kinder at work? And I will tell you, I get some eye rolls. We're going to be kind at work. This is work. You get paid. That's kind enough. I mean, I hear it and I see it. But then that's where you talk about what kindness is and what it's not. It doesn't mean we withhold our opinion or that we tolerate poor performance or we don't argue a point. It's just the way we do it, right? So you've got a level set on that. Why is kindness important to the work we do? Where have you seen kindness make a difference? So all of these are just kind of warming them up. They had this slide in common. So let's dig into Phillips first. This past February, they had their North America kickoff in Vegas. And what they wanted to do was check in on the well-being of their employees. They've been going through a lot and they wanted to check in the well-being. And they also were connecting, well, well-being could be tied to how we work as a team and of course our customers. So how it started off after they level set, they asked individually to pick one or two cards based on anything you want. It could be a kindness skill you're strong at and how it benefits teams, colleagues, or customers, or a kindness skill you want to develop and how would developing that benefit the people around you, customers, colleagues, team. An act of kindness that you think would enhance the team effectiveness, the team you're on. I wish we would just give each other the benefit of the doubt, or I wish somebody would just have my back. I love this next one, a golden rule you value on how you want others to treat you. Many times we often find out what someone's golden rule is because we overstepped and we have conflict. But if you can say to a team, hey, guys, I really value benefit of the doubt. This is what I would really love if you can just consider that for me. Tell me what your golden rule is. And then a recent act of kindness you extended or received at work, and how did you make you or the other person feel? So they had to sift through the cards. They all had a box, and they picked one or two based on these prompts. After they picked a couple, they went into teams of threes, and then there was a large debrief into like what resonated with you. How did you use them? And it was a great way to level set and hear from other people. At the end of the session, they had to take a stand. What commitment are they going to do for themselves, the team, their customers, or even for their well-being that they're going to do? And then there was a 30-day check-in that happened afterwards to make sure that we're honoring this. And if somebody said, I'm going to be kinder to myself, that's okay. It's whatever worked for them. Let me move on to Chewy. So Chewy had a session with their ERGs, their employee resource groups, and there was a lot of dependency on each other. They support each other and how they work and idea sharing. There was some opportunity to enhance those working relationships. So as individuals in this session, they picked up to 5 cards that represented, hey, what do we think we do well collectively as ERG groups? What 5 cards do I think will make us even better? Then they went into small group discussions. They shared all their cards. And as a group, they selected just one or two. There was a lot of them there, but they chose through discussion what one or two cards do we think we must have to improve our ways of working. There was a large group debrief, and at the end, they put everybody's one or two cards up, removed duplications, and that was the team charter. It was captured and it was sent out to everybody, said, this is our ways of working. So they could take a picture of it, print it out, keep it by their work station, and they would also do frequent check-ins. Hey, How are we doing against what we said? Last one, and then we can
Jamie,
talk
I
about.
love those, even just those two that we started with, like the juxtaposition of like, we need to focus on individual behaviors and we need to focus on how we're working as a team. Just kind of
Yeah.
really, really interesting, just even starting with those two.
Well, I love that you called that out, Sue, because individuals make up the team, right? So, yes, we're a collection of people, but they're each individual people that may be feeling differently about that team. Some people may love it, some people may feel excluded. And it's a really great way to look at you and then look at us. So,
Mm.
thanks for calling that out. Let me move on to one more. And this is most recent. This happened last week on the 23rd. This is Trimark. So, what Susan did there is she has four leadership development program kickoffs. So, she has cohorts. She has four that's my Boston accent, cohorts that she brings in Louisville, I think. And they are together for 3 days. They talk about DISC and they talk about coaching and empathetic leadership. And what she wanted these leaders to do, she did it on day three because Kind Cards really does encompass some of the things that DISC and Myers-Briggs and things like that teach us in coaching and all those things. So she wanted them to reflect on their leadership style. So on day three, after they got some education on what it takes to be a good leader, and then they would go on their 9 month learning journey, is select 3 to 5 cards that you think you do well, that serves the team you lead. 3 or 5 cards you think you could be better at. And then they would pair up and discuss, they had the psychological safety to do this after 3 days. And they got to dialogue about why they chose the cards that they did. Then there's, of course, a large debrief because there's power in hearing from other people. And then they did a reflection and a commitment on what one thing will they do differently as soon as they get back to their teams. And I know many of them are want cards that they can use to check in on the team dynamic. So we see them used for leaders, teams, any kind of groups that have this dependency on work success. So those are just a few of the ways that they have used them recently. And I'd love to, we can open it up if there's some reactions, or I don't know if there's anything in chat.
Nothing in chat yet.
I
Yeah,
think
Scott,
Scott,
yeah.
Yeah, quick question. Is making the assumption that every person has their own deck of cards.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And are they, or how are they prepped for this? So the word kindness can sometimes feel obviously really squishy or woo-woo. How
Yeah.
are you prepped to say this is tied to leadership and the benefits and all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've worked with each person that was working on these sessions, um, and we really had to address that because the what kindness is. When we talk about kindness, the squishy part that people come up with, I really want to hear what they think is squishy about it and not challenge them, but just hear them out and be like, well, that's not what it is. It's not the kumbaya around the campfire, and really kind of getting them to talk about who is kind to you and what is your biggest issue right now. Is it human related? And it could be about how people are treating you or your team. So there are some people who are better at this than others. And I mean, the person at Chewy, she's more a DEI person. She's not a facilitator, an organizational development designer. So she needs a little bit more help. Some of these people I work with, it's a little bit more intuitive of how to set the stage. But that's why the slide I set a few slides ago about alignment and why we're here. What's your reaction when I say be kinder? Let's talk about it, and let's talk about what kindness isn't. So there's a lot of work that goes in there early on, or you may lose them. So that was a great question. Did that help answer for you?
Definitely. Thank you.
Awesome. Sure. Nora, did you
I
have your
think
hand up?
Nora has a question as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it isn't proprietary. What were the Chewy's top two or three? What was some that ended up in their charter?
I don't know. I don't know, but I can ask her. I don't know. I would love to. That's a really good question. I popped in because I've got my day job. I popped in, I helped her think through it, and I popped out. But now you got me curious, Nora. I don't know.
I have
Oh,
another use of this. I work with staff who often says my management won't, my management can't, I don't because my management, and I can see, because I always make a case for you're the community. So let's build whatever we're building as a culture from the ground up, boots on the ground. Never mind what management's doing. They're trying to keep the lights on. They're trying to make money. They're doing whatever they're doing. But what can you do? And I can see these cards working on the floor with boots on the ground as let's build our own culture, no matter what people in leadership are doing. There's often a lot of conflict between leadership and boots on the ground.
Absolutely. Okay, so Nora, you can't see this, but you just gave me goosebumps, because that's exactly right. Because when we think about how we're treated by the people we work for and with, it is a lot of the cases it's the person to our left or to our right, because we need to work together and create. And you have human beings come to work, not our job titles. And you come to work with a whole history of whatever makes you you. And I may be very different from that, but we need to get along because we have to execute. So in culture, it takes everybody, not just the HR folks, not just people that manage other people, everybody. And that's why I love the idea that you talked about. I mean, people should get the decks. Everybody should have, there's orientation. Somebody was taught, a smaller company was talking about just give them that orientation because it ties to company values. This is the way we want to work. And here's some cards that can help guide you. And if you don't, I think I forget who was asking. Maybe it was Keenan or Rob or somebody, that's about does everybody get a deck? Everybody does get a deck, but there's 52 of them. If you can only in the budget for a few of them, they can share. They can all pull from them.
I think
Um,
also if you're using them in a workshop, then you can also spread them on tables and
Absolutely.
have multiple people, going for decks. I think it was, we were talking about Amy Clymer's deck, and she said when multiple people want the same card, they just identify that they want the same card and they talk about it. And if multiple people in the organization are all good at one thing and not good at another, that's illustrative as well. So I think that you can probably be pretty creative about that. One other comment that I wanted to mention about this idea of senior execs not necessarily buying in or kindness being perceived as, squishy and too soft. I have put together as many data points as I can find on the importance and the business rationale for engagement. And like Jamie said, all of this kindness and emotional intelligence, they all go towards the fact that what happens when people are happier at work? How do they perform differently? And how does the organization's bottom line perform as a result? And so in our blog, Work Smart blog, we have, several posts that speak to some of the data and present data that we've gathered around those points. So just know that that's a resource for you.
I
All
love
right,
that.
give it a
Where would
try.
where would we find that?
I will, it's on the Work Smart blog. If you look up data, you'll probably find that, or look up engagement, do a search for those terms. And if you can't find it, I can share some of those links as well.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Sue. And I know Nira had a session using cards, and they had one box of cards for around 10 people at 10 rounds. I'm going to move on because I want us to try it. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it. I know some people might have to bug off, but let's give it a whirl.
Okay, so it's your chance to kind of play. Here we go. I'm going to show you 12 cards that we picked at random. And here's the prompts from you. And Sue is going to also put them in the chat for you. A kind of skill you're good at. We're going to leverage a little bit from Phillips, how it benefits the people you work with, maybe one you could develop further, a kind act that you extended or received, and how did it make you or the colleague feel? That picture is from Chewy. That's a real one. It's not stock. And here's the cards. Here's the 12. So take a look at those and pick one. What do you think that you do well? What do you think you can improve? Who extended one of these to you or a version of it? And then once you kind of pick one, we'll see if anybody wants to share.
I wish I could see what's little.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit hard on this. Uh,
Yeah, we have to sort of, in this context, I think, rely on the big words.
yeah.
Well, I hope everyone who's on this show goes for share your knowledge. I mean, aren't we all trainers?
Yes. I like
Just for
that you,
bait,
Nora.
just for
Nora, you're
thrill.
going to be my BFF. That's a good one. I hope yes, you would think.
I'd like to hear someone talk about extend grace.
Mm.
I'd
Scott,
love to talk about that. That's the one I chose.
Oh, please, can you share? Would you be willing to share?
So, my wife and I are involved in a 30-day kindness challenge.
Oh my
30
God.
days looking for, this is part of what drew me to this. Looking for about halfway through it, looking for something every day to extend kindness. And yesterday I was late checking out of a hotel, and the front desk person, was on two phones. He was saying, "Sorry, I can't help you. No, you can't get back in your room. Too bad." And he was just angry. So I waited and I said, "Your name? Oh, Eddie. Wow, you have a lot going on. You're doing a great job." And he said, "Thank you. Here's the card to get back in your room." Like that quickly. It just, so the extension of grace he was being upset with, not with me, but I was just one more person in the line of somebody complaining. And that, like, okay, but all he needed was a bit of a kind response and acknowledgement that he was doing a good job, and to call him by his name. So to me, that was the extension of grace for, I need your help. So
Mm.
maybe if I'm kind to you, you can be kind to me.
Absolutely. People just want to be seen and heard and feel like they matter. And you using the name, that's a beautiful story. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing that. Should we take one more before the last slide? Who else like to share? Don't be shy. You're among friends.
Well, so I would say that the card that really speaks to me too is encouraging others.
Mm,
We are in a position of being trainers, so yes, obviously sharing your knowledge, but really, I've spent the last month on a tour through our entire company with some industry education that's mandatory,
mm,
and nobody wants to hear the mandatory stuff, but we
mhm,
try to make it fun and we encourage them as much as we can. And I've had so many by I want to encourage people to be engaged in the training. And I do that by making it personal, by making it fun, by making it more relevant to them. And I
mm.
think that that encourages them to actually share some of the questions that they might not want to ask otherwise. So I
Yeah.
think that encouraging them, not just in the learning environment, but I mean, just since I've sat down here, I have 6 emails from people who were in my audience yesterday because I encouraged them to reach out
Mm.
if they had a question about something that they didn't want to ask in front of the group. So I would say that although I didn't realize that this was something I was doing, I read the card and I guess I am.
That's amazing. Yes. It's a good reminder of what you do that makes a difference to others, and the emails prove it. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I just want to leave you with one last slide, and of course, a slide of thanks to all of you. Here's just many of the ways that you can use them or companies can use them. Team building, icebreakers, a lot of these kindness contests. I love what you're doing with your wife. Conflict prevention, like, hey, if we were kinder, the mentor and coaching, mentor get a deck, mentee get a deck, orientations, value contests. There's a lot there, and you all seem very creative. Where I'm sure you can do a version of something yourself. And I want to just thank you. Can I stop sharing so I can just see you all one more time? We good
Of
with that?
course. And I realized that I tried to share with everyone and it went to just a couple of people. So sorry, I'm trying to do a little better right now.
There they are. Okay. I just wanted to, oh, there's more people I didn't even see. Thank you all for your time. And Sue, thank you so much for hosting and being such an awesome partner. And Karen, but I've learned from all of you as well today. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And Sue, if there's any other questions I
Thank
can
you.
answer,
No,
you
it's
know,
our pleasure to have you. Thank you. And I am noticing there are a lot of um, a lot of folks who are saying, these seem great. Let me know when they're in. And where can I get them? So yes, pardon me. I put on a link. They are available through the Trainers Warehouse store. And as soon as they're in stock, so Jamie will be back out in the Boston area. And he said, I'm going to drive them over to you guys as soon as they're here. So we'll have them virtually as soon as he does.
Yes,
So
I would say about 2 weeks, and then I'm going to drive them right down to Framingham, and you're going to have them. So
awesome. So thank you, Jamie. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We will stay on the call as we always do in case you have any additional questions. But thank you all.
thank you, everybody.